Yeah. KonnectMD. Not insurance. It's a lifestyle. Talk to him. Yeah. KonnectMD, yeah, we tapped in. Healthcare membership, we locked in. Not insurance, don't get it twisted. 24/7 die when you need assistance. Travel discounts, yeah, we gon' slide. Lifestyle club, keep your peace inside. Free mental health, that's real love. We level up, whole life, not just one plug.
Hello world. How you guys doing? Listen, guys, I'm always excited because we have two amazing guests on tonight, and they are Miss Renee and Mr. Tone himself. Welcome, guys. Listen, tonight's topic is mental health without the drama. I love tremendously. So before we get started, we're going to do things a little bit differently. We are going to allow Miss Renee and Mr. Tone to introduce themselves. So we'll start with Miss Renee. Can you just tell everybody who you are and what you do?
Absolutely. Hello, everybody. I am Renee Ambush. I am the CEO and founder of Destiny Over Drama Radio, along with being an impartation strategist. So I give mental health services to individuals about relationships and trauma. So yeah, I'm ready for this tonight, y'all. Hey, everybody.
Yeah. And Mr. Tone, sir, please introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are and what you do.
What's going on, guys? Yeah, my name is Tony S. Green, aka Tone Supreme, the real leverage king, and I help entrepreneurs launch and scale to six-figure businesses along with access capital. I'm also a mentor as well, dealing in the mental space of dealing with self-mastery, changing the mindset so you can level up. And then, yeah, I offer a smarter healthcare solution as well through a healthcare agency.
Absolutely. Well, guys, thank you guys for your time. I appreciate you guys tremendously for taking the time to be able to indulge our audience on this roundtable discussion about mental health without the drama. So I want to kind of start this off with giving some statistics to set the stage. This is one of the statistics, guys. About 1 in 5 U.S. adults experience mental illness each year. Here's another one. About 1 in 6 U.S. youth ages 6 to 17 experience a mental health disorder each year. And then last but not least, overall, half adults with mental illness don't receive treatment. So I want to start with this one right here. About 1 in 5 U.S. adults experience mental illnesses each year. Miss Renee, when you hear that, what comes to mind, right? And when you hear that 1 in 5 U.S. adults experience mental illness each year, what runs through your mind when you hear that statistic?
When I hear that statistic, it is alarming and saddening, and it's heavy on the heart because a lot of individuals are actually going without the support and or benefits that they need to actually help remove that statistic. You know, a lot of times they go undiagnosed. A lot of times also because of the stigma that surrounds mental health, understanding that it's so much more important that our mental health is intact even before our physical, because our mental actually affects our physical.
Yeah, I think a lot of people misconstrue the fact that they think that like mental health is honing in on a specific thing. But guys, it could be something as little as, you having anxiety about, if you're a student at school, right? And you're having anxiety and being able to plug into a resource that can help with that. Or it can be a couple who is either before they get, decide to cross that bridge of saying I do, having that premarital counseling, right, is also therapy. So, Tone, when you hear the statistic about 1 in 6 youth ages 6 to 17 experience a mental health disorder each year, what comes to your mind? Because I know that you have a daughter, right? So what flows through your mind when you hear that?
Yeah, so I think, a lot of, especially the way we grew up in our era, I think a lot of the mental illness or the mental disorders per se are
Mhm.
kind of overlooked, right?
Mhm.
And I think they're not taking that serious. And in this day, I feel like I won't say it's worse, but it's still prevalent. And I think even more than ever, we're not as aware of
Mm.
how it affects the adulthood of children growing up. And once we're adults, it's locked in to where it's kind of habitual. The many different, things that we have set mentally, how we handle situations, how we deal with stress, and I think, that being 1 out of 6 children these days,
Mm.
I'm not surprised. Honestly, I'm not surprised. And I think more than ever, we need to double down on the awareness of how important this really is. I think us as adults in this era, I think we aware of our own disorders and things that we have to deal with on a daily
Mm.
basis, especially entrepreneurs and people
Ooh.
um, having to go through those thresholds of handling that type of lifestyle. So I think the children is the future, and we need to kind of figure out, not only our own situation, but how can we now not let our children go through those situations and build up those, those tools that are helpful for them to
Mhm.
overcome this many different mental situations and disorders that we are dealing with these days.
Mhm.
Yeah, absolutely. Guys, listen, for the viewers that are watching, guys, this is a conversation, not a therapy. It's not a sales pitch, right? We want to be able to expand on, if you're struggling, we want to let you guys know that you're not alone. We want you guys to understand that, number one, you have you have people that you can reach out to, right? Such as Renee, such as Tone, myself, and all of the other individuals that are agents with this particular opportunity, the solution. But that piece right there, that there is a solution for you. So I want to talk about the 5 signs you might need to know that whether or not you need support. One is, sleep changes. The other one is irritability, short
Mhm.
fused. The other one is can't focus, brain fog. Another one may be withdrawing from people. And then another sign may be feeling overwhelmed most days. So, Renee, when you hear those 5 signs you might need, is there anything that you may want to add? When people that are looking for support, that need support, are there any other signs that you may feel that we left out that you may want to just touch on or just add in so people can understand, um regards of
I
saying, hey, yeah, go ahead.
I would say I always tell people to check out people's behaviors. I know that sometimes when people are depressed, they're withdrawn, right? Like you said, they may disconnect themselves from other people. But sometimes we have to actually watch people who are overly excited, right? Who are overly eager to do and things, because what happens is that individual may also be someone who's calling out for help, but just are unable to use the words to say, hey, I really need support. But what they'll do is they'll start acting out in behaviors, right? Erratic things, kind of, even sometimes people will put themselves in dangerous situations where you watch an individual who will put themselves in a place where you go, hey, listen, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. Why are you now taking this opportunity to want to walk to the store? You know what I mean? It's like we have to hone in on things like that, because these are behaviors that says I'm calling out for attention, but I just don't know how to communicate it. So I'm showing it in my actions.
Hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. That's powerful. Listen, I think everybody, whoever follows me, so supports me, watches me, baby. If Dr. Pitts ain't smiling, if I'm not loud, it's easy to pick mine and like, hold on, something ain't right. I've had a lot of people text me to say, "Hey, you sounded like you was a little off today," and honestly, I appreciate the awareness,
Absolutely.
right? And I think that when you have a support system that can hone in on just keeping you on your toes, like, hey, you good,
Mm-hmm.
you straight,
Mm-hmm.
because it's something as simple as that to let you know as a person, to say that people really care about me, they care about my situation. So that's a great segue into like the 5 things that quietly trigger stress. And Tone, here are some of the 5 things, and maybe you can add to this section. But money pressure, right? That's quietly triggers stress. Relationship conflict, that's another one. Work overload, health concerns, and then last but not least, lack of rest and no boundaries. I don't understand that one, but anyways, is there anything that you want to add to that when it comes to the 5 things that quietly trigger stress? Is there any other ones that you want to add to that section?
Well, you covered the board pretty well there, because those are definitely some of the main, quiet stressors that sneak up on people and build up stress on them. I would add to what Renee was saying on the other part is that when to look out for something, I want to add to that to say that also there's extremes where people seem too overly happy, that seem like everything is so good and everything is so great. And a lot of times you got to look out for that as well, because sometimes they are fake happy and they're covering it up to make everybody else believe that they're happy. But deep down, they have a lot of sadness. They have a lot of depression, trying to suppress it with fake happiness and fake positivity. So I just want to add to that part, because I think that's a really important one, because we have a lot of fake positivity these days. But then when it comes down to the quiet stressors, definitely money stress, definitely lack of sleep. I mean, eating, when people have a certain eating disorder, or not even disorder, but when they eat a certain way, but then they start switching it up, like eating a lot of sweets, or, eating a lot of comfort food, which we all know that obesity is taking over, America right now, which I really think is directly correlated with mental disorder, because people are trying to cope, and they're using food, they're using candy, sugar, all of these things, stimulants, sex, like it's so many different things that they're using to kind of stimulate themselves, because they want to feel alive, or they want to feel better, or they're trying to cover up pain. So any type of drug use, overly using like weed, cigarettes, liquor. I mean, all of those things are signs that someone is trying to cover up something. And I mean, today, unfortunately, I feel like it's more normalized and more like common, right? And people feel like, oh, this is just normal, but it's not normal, because mental disorders are becoming normal.
Have you said that? You're absolutely right. Definitely that mental disorders are becoming common. However, there's a lot of misdiagnosis as well, right? A lot of times we are attributing words and jargon that we're hearing in social media to characteristics or disorders that really don't have anything to do with it. I mean, in this climate, if you have a person that's not responding to you the way that you want to, they are a narcissist. And it's like, no, that's not what they are. But we're just throwing those things, around. Or, if a person is not communicating the way that you want to, then now they are emotionally disconnected. It's like we are so traumatized, but we're so very well versed in our therapeutic wording or jargon, but we really do need individuals who know, right? Who have schooled, who have experienced, who understand what mental health is, so that the right diagnoses are out there. The right things are attributed to individuals, and not just because our vocabulary with psychological terms have become great. No, we actually need individuals to support us to understand where we are, so that we actually can get the support and get what we need, so that we can become better and productive.
Most definitely.
Absolutely. And that leads to giving some tools, right? I think that's important. Before I get into these questions really quickly that the audience has brought to our attention, but I'm going to give you guys 5 coping tools you can use this week. One of them is 10-minute walks, right? Sunlight movement is extremely important. It relieves stress. Brain dumping journal, 5 minutes spending time, just dumping all of the ideas or the things that you're going through into a journal. Box breathing, 4-4-4-4 method. You don't know anything about that, look that up. One boundary, say no to one thing this week that you would say yes to. And then most importantly, talk to someone, whether it's a friend, a coach, or a counselor. which gives us 5 questions for the room on tonight. Miss Renee, I'm going to give you this one first. What's the biggest stressor people aren't talking about today?
Gosh, let me see. What would be the biggest stressor? The first two for me that I deal with is honestly relationships and like we said earlier, finances. People are afraid to delve into these two things because they have become social identifiers. If I am not in a place financially, I may not appear to be a great person or a person of substance of someone. Or if I'm having relationship issues, I'm not. I would say that those two would be top ones that people are kind of like not really talking about in depth and truly dealing with.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Tone, this one is for you. What do you do when you feel overwhelmed?
Number one, I take some time to myself to kind of self-regulate, self-assess, kind of figure out, okay, why do I feel like this? Is really bringing up that awareness, and then returning to the breath. I think returning to your breath is very important, just to kind of sit and breathe can really do a lot, not only because you're going to, increase the oxygen to your brain so you could think clearly, but you're going to increase the whole, your whole energy so that you're able to be calm, to calm your nervous system so that you can now process what's actually going on, and really taking that time to be by yourself for a second, to cut out the distractions, to cut out all of the things that's kind of, trying to take over your attention, right? So that you can hone in on yourself and really figure out what's going on with yourself. Sometimes you got to talk to yourself. Sometimes you got to, kind of figure out like, dang, like, why do I feel like this? What is it I'm feeling? Where am I feeling it at? What can I do about it? What are some things that I can do about it, right? Who can I talk to kind of figure out like, okay, do I need to talk to someone right now that can kind of give me like a third perspective, or, more vantage points or, views, angles of the situation that I'm not seeing, right? Different perspective, right? So those are kind of like the first things that come to mind that I do in order to, get myself to a better space mentally.
Absolutely. And I'll take this next question. What stops people from getting support? I think not knowing that they have access to resources that are affordable, right? I think what's a real big issue is that, people can't afford mental health these days, right? You got these mental health therapists that are charging anywhere between $150 to $250 per session, right? And those are in 30-minute increments, right? And even if it's in an hour, right, that's still per session. So a lot of people, the resource of mental health is just not there for the average. And people are like, well, look, I can't afford it anyway. So, let me go this route, or let me do this. And then you find people cutting themselves and using different mechanisms that are more harmful to them than it is helpful to them. So leads me to my next question. Tone, we'll go back to you with this one. What would make support feel easier to access, in your opinion?
What would support feel easier to access? Like, how would that look? Is that your question? Like,
like, speaking to the audience, like, right, what would make support feel easier to access? If you had to give them, an idea of what that would look like, what would it be?
I mean, if I had somebody on dial, I can just click and be like, hey, let me go ahead and a quick call and have that instant access. I think that would be something that'll be superficial, super beneficial to someone, especially in the drop of the dime where they really can't handle a situation and they don't know what to do, just pressing that one little speed dial, or, clicking that contact and, getting somebody on the phone just to be in their ear immediately, I think will be a super beneficial, definitely be beneficial for them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Renee, this question is for you. What tip would you be willing to give to the audience in regards to changing the habit of not going into the the space of stress and depression, what tip would you give them to kind of not go the left side, but coming over to the right side and understanding that help is available and ready? What tip would you give those individuals?
One of the things, and I do this all the time, is telling people to be grounded, right? First of all, we have to be transformed by the renewal of our mind, right? But then we have to get grounded. And you mentioned the 444, right? So I'm going to go here for a second. Understanding where you are. A tip to be present really hones in on veering out everything else around you, recognizing what you smell, what you see, what you hear in your very present. That really helps bring a person back to themselves, right? But I also tell people a lot of the times when you are speaking something positive, right, verbally, because you have to take it out of your mindset. When you speak something positive, you can't speak something negative at the same time. Mm-hmm. So once you go ahead and begin to verbalize, no matter what the situation or circumstance is, speak something positive. You are not able to do both at the same time. That's a tip I give to people, and they actually follow it. And it's funny because they was like, you know what? I was trying to say something negative, and when I said something positive, I really couldn't even think about that negative thing I was thinking about or about to say. So it really does work. I would give that tip. I would offer those two.
Absolutely. That's amazing. Well, guys, guess what? There is a solution, right? Oh, and we have access to that solution. Now, we're not going to mention the name of it, but we have a membership that gives you 24/7, 365 access to a physician or to a mental health therapist at a very, very affordable rate. And if you want to know more about that information, Miss Renee, can you tell them how they can get in contact with you, please?
Absolutely. Listen, I am open and free that you can dial 404-961-3538. Find me on all social media platforms, and I will direct you right to my website. We can go through it together. I will help you understand all of what you need to know. So you can find me at Rebirth of Renee on IG, Renee Ambush on Facebook. And listen, like I said, my number is out here for you to call anytime, 404-961-3538.
Absolutely. And Mr. Tone Supreme, sir, can you let everybody know if they want to know more about this amazing membership that gives them 24/7, 365 access to a mental health therapist, how can they get in contact with you, sir?
Yes, so you can simply give me a call at 707-713-9173. Again, that's 707-713-9173. That's my direct number. You can get in touch with me there, and I can give you access to this amazing opportunity to help you have the resource that will help you. I can also be found on social media, The Real Leverage King, or you can just simply type in Tone Supreme, Tone Supreme. We already know how to spell that. So yeah, get in contact with me. Hey, we'll get you the help you need.
Absolutely. Well, guys, listen, make sure that you guys stay plugged in. And we want to just thank you guys for tuning in on our roundtable discussion about mental health without the drama, because guys, we have a solution to a very well-known problem. And again, we want to thank you. And if I can leave you with anything, I'm going to leave you with this. Coming together is the beginning, sticking together is progress, but working together is success. My name is Dr. Casuel Pitts, and we thank you guys for tuning in on the Roundtable Discussion. See you soon.